Yeah. He informed me he killed my jack. So
The hydraulic for that?
yeah.
Yeah, the NASCAR jack. Yeah.
He killed your jack. Said it was working on the car and it was on a little incline and bent the arm.
He didn't put the jack stands under it.
No, while he was jacking it up,
Oh.
the car shifted.
Okay.
The soil, I guess the soil that the jack was on gave in. So
Yeah.
now I looked at him like, I ain't buying another jack.
You gonna replace my jack?
Well, no, you keep using that one. I ain't no need for me to replace it because if I do, you gonna want to borrow it. I'll get my stuff back in my baby. I hope the trunk of my closet was nothing but a toolkit. But now it's sitting in the yard.
Huh?
See, this is a week of this.
Tara should be here in a few minutes.
I saw her downstairs.
She's
Rick is out sick.
He's I talked to him over the weekend. We finished filming the last couple scenes with this movie, and he sounded horrible.
Don't go with sinus infection, but if you're sick and coughing, stay away. The virus is going around right now.
Good morning. Good morning, guys.
Hi. Hey, darling. I'm good.
Tara's upstairs.
Good morning.
Yeah, they will be closed from Friday to
Passover?
yeah.
Yeah, because they closed every Saturday. Yeah. I remember when they opened in 79.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before recently, that was the last time I went to New York. That opened in 79.
Twenty 20? I used to read. And then we got me a present for Christmas. It's about to. Thank you. presentation and we ask questions. Yes, and how they communicate.
We might need to.
Yeah, let's do that. But this Bob, yes, let's grab your camera. We're gonna reconfigure the room to add a table or row up front. Yeah.
We can do whatever we want.
Yes.
That's all.
I'm a genius. I came all of this way.
Instead of pulling that one right
Yes, it's Wednesday and my caffeine is low. Cheers up. Pull that one out of the way. Thank you. Brute force, no finesse.
I see, no finesse.
Swing me over there. Because Bob's got the camera here. Because these things are preventing her from standing. Hey, these tables, yeah. You know what?
Yeah, man, I try to use that coconut oil every morning. If it ain't shining, it ain't right.
Thank you. So, Bob, you want to move your up one table? Yeah, somebody wants to sit.
We'll just leave the chairs here.
Okay.
That way she can have the room.
Yeah, well, don't worry about it. Good to see you. Good to see you.
Good morning.
Yeah, it looks like we needed that space. Huh? See, you start with bricks. See from back here, nobody, there's somebody. You ain't got nobody.
Anyone there's an open chair.
There's no surprise. Let's say I trust Anthony, I'm okay with him being behind. There's some other folks like you see. I get you in front of me. Security. Not security. In the state? Yeah. Chris Rock? Yeah. Security? Every time Robin showed up,
but no, outside.
There's a one scene where everybody calls security.
He calls, his bodyguard calls,
So let
the lady at the side.
Yeah. That's what it is. See, yeah, like, just for a part. It's deep. So I know I'm gonna get mine. How you doing? Okay.
There's some classic moments in those movies walks over.
Yeah.
Wait,
Wait, but no. That Bernie Mac scene when he gets off the train, slaps the lobbyist. That is
Like number one, that story. That one is, I know that.
the other, like,
the only
what?
are you failing in your career?
So that
They're
would be
not
interesting.
enough means from blazing
Since I know
saddles.
that they would know exactly, or at least point us in the right direction.
You only one short. Here, Joe. Excuse me, he doesn't know what's blazing saddles. You don't know about the wind? No, blazing saddles. Oh. You didn't see blazing saddles. Most of the places you ever see. You know, Brooks made a right. Made a Western.
The other six.
It's a
Could
well, yeah. No, it's not before you got to this. They play a record. Watch it uncensored, but strap in. He offends that blazing sound. He offends everybody. Equally. There ain't nobody. There's a second children where they're trying to unite the
It's just
Good morning.
I mean, it's
Kathryn. Yes.
Good, I'm Ryan. Nice to meet you.
Ryan, nice to
No, it was Sunday. I'm almost straight.
Yeah.
That's what's up.
Seriously, there it is. Yeah. Three times a history study. Tell us history of the world.
Alright, good morning. We're going to get started in about 4 minutes. So if you wouldn't mind, please scan the QR code. If you're a regular, it's going to take our attendance, and we really want them to know that we are alive and thriving. So please sign in if you would. If this is your first time being with us, please sign up. If you get you into our portal, get you all of our emails, messages, and we would love to stay connected with you. So either way, scan the damn thing. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
You got it.
They already know what you're doing.
Start doing hand raises and stuff. Perfect.
That's much you want.
No, that's fine.
You have a popular excuse.
Then I'll ask about this thing again. Yeah. Alright, we're just going to do some attendance just so we know what the demographic looks like. If this is your first time here, could you raise your hand for us so we can just kind of count first timers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you're a student, students also, you can double raise. Thank you. Got some 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Thank you, folks. All right, if everybody's scanned, I'm going to go ahead and start with some housekeeping. So here we go. All right, welcome. This is 1 Million Cups, and the purpose of our meetups every Wednesday is to lower the barrier of access to education, resources, and connection for all types of new, seasoned, and aspiring entrepreneurs throughout the United States. Sorry. There we are. No, one more. There we go. Our key pillars. So we provide presentations. We're not sales pitches. We make authentic connections. We're not just networking. And we're radically and intentionally inclusive. And we are run for the community, by the community. And what I mean by that is here are your local sponsors, local business owners who every week bring this opportunity to you. So we're grateful to the USC Columbia Technology Incubator for housing our space, and then the various businesses below donate their time, efforts, and coffee to bring this to you every Wednesday. So nobody gets paid, we get a t-shirt, and that's about it. So if you'd like to participate, I've got lots of work I can hand out. Let me know, and you can become one of our sponsors. And thank you to all of those who bring this to us weekly. Our local program, we've been here over 10 years. We're held weekly on Wednesday mornings, and 1 Million Cups is actually a national program. So every Wednesday at 9 a.m., there are other 1 Million Cups meeting across the nation. So if you're ever traveling somewhere, just go onto the website, pop in, and check out one of the other. Charleston is our closest second chapter here in South Carolina. We have had over 500 entrepreneur presentations. We also provide educational topics like finance, future frame, networking, and give local resources. We usually have one presenter a week with about a 6 to 10 minute presentation, and we follow that with Q&A from the community. We're also having, and I'm excited, this summer we're bringing back we're going to have some Made It sessions with already successful entrepreneurs who are going to come back this summer and tell us, how 1 Million Cups helped them and how their business is doing. So we've got a lot of people signed up for that. I'm excited to present it to you guys. We're always free, we're always open to the public, and we always give you free coffee. So if you need some caffeine, it's here behind me in the room. And please always tell a friend, bring a friend. We love to grow our community. If you'd like to present, I'm taking applications for August, so you've got plenty of time. It is not a sales pitch, it's not an investor's pitch. The goal is to have people understand what you do and some of the challenges that you have had in building your business. So this is a space to share with us about your journey. We also look for companies that are 0 to 5 years old and open to community engagement. And you can apply here at this link, or you can come and talk to me directly. Like I said, I'm looking for August, presenters for August. So we have 2 Facebook pages. One is 1 Million Cups, which is kind of the national Facebook page. And this is our little home family page. So if you're not a part of this, please scan and be on this page as well. This is kind of where we can share resources, local resources, ask local questions. We'd like to get the engagement up on this page, so feel free to post, share information. We just want to really grow this community. Upcoming presenters. So next week is a big one. If you're curious about presenting and you want to know how to do it, please come. Next Wednesday, Mr. Derek Walker is one of our presentation coaches. He's going to be hosting an entire seminar on how to present at 1 Million Cups. So you are, by the way.
Oh, well, in that case, just to interject, sorry to interrupt.
Please.
I'm actually going to do it as a presentation, so I will present my business, but talk about how a presentation should go, so it's not like it's just me standing up there telling you how to do it. So
Love it.
Hopefully it'll be interesting. I hear the speaker's a butthole, but anyway.
Come and see it. So
Yeah.
and it's a wonderful way too, so you can learn who Derek is. He's a marketing genius, so it's a big benefit to hear him speak.
That'd be normal.
Okay. After Derek, on April 23rd, Russell Earl's going to come and talk about his new publishing company that he's starting. The 30th will be followed by Robin Ford. She owns a company called Grace Company where they have baby products. And May 7th, we've got Aubrielle. She's coming to talk about transformations, behavioral solutions. All right, and without further ado, I would like to draw your attention to the front of the room to Miss Kathryn Regganie. Yay! And I love this, so I copied this here. So she is a former corporate adrenaline junkie turned resilient dragon-powered wise woman. So we're going to hear from her today. And she helps individual women leaders and corporate teams build resilience, manage stress, and excel from a place of strength without burnout. And female entrepreneurs, I know you feel this. So give her a round of applause, and I'm going to pop up.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you for being here. I'm a little surprised and delighted to see so many people here, so thank you. as we talked about, I am a former adrenaline junkie and still recovering. Because I think once you get that adrenaline rush, even in entrepreneurship, you just kind of keep going with that. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my story and why it is so important to me and a passion of mine to work with these resilient women in leadership positions, especially in corporate. Because do we have any corporate women here or former corporate women here? A lot of times people don't realize how much stress that we are under in corporate America. You know, we can really win at the good old boys game. We, for me, for example, it was a really great experience. So I'm going to go into a little bit more about my story and how I got into this place. So just as I had mentioned, you know, women in corporate, they can really kill it. Like for myself, I was really, really successful at playing the good old boys game. I won awards. I was well respected. I led teams. I created collaborative relationships between the techie folks and the not so techie folks, which is really, really complicated for a lot of people. So that was my role, and I was killing it. Everybody thought I was doing great, but inside, I was exhausted. I was doing so much at home. I was doing so much at work. I would go in early. I would stay late. I would make sure my inbox was clean. I would make sure everybody else was taken care of because I'm a nurturing kind of person. Then something happened on the personal end. I wasn't paying enough attention at home. And suddenly, or so it seemed, my husband decided to leave. The foundation that I had built crumbled, and I was crumbling. And because I was in corporate America, I didn't want anybody to know what was really going on at home. So I kept everything inside, and I worked harder. I worked longer. I was traveling so much that it seemed from everybody else it was easy to hide it. Until people started asking questions. And one time I was coming back from a business trip, and one of my teammates said to me, she said, "You know, Kathryn, I don't know what's going on at home, but if you don't start eating, you're going to really end up sick." I didn't even realize anybody had noticed. So I told her what was going on. I started opening up to tell people what was going on, and then I realized, wow, people really do care. I had some of the support that I was looking for that I didn't feel like I could be vulnerable enough to ask for. So that was when I really started to open my mindset to, gosh, I'm sure I'm not the only one that's going through this. And because I was feeling so terrible within myself, I started looking for ways to get out of this rut because, as my teammate said, I could lose everything. Not only my health, but my career. The relationships that I had worked so hard to build and create. So I started doing a lot of introspection, a lot of work, and there were really three things that got me through this whole time. And one of them was energy work. I started understanding energy and the fact that we all live in it every day. I started to understand that my body was a really great tool or a navigation system to, like a warning system, if something wasn't going right or I was feeling sick. That's telling me something. And then the third one was what I call now is my dragon woman type, because we don't like to talk about emotions in corporate America. We have to stuff them down. And sometimes when we stuff them down long enough, a dragon starts raging. And then us women, we wonder how in the world did we become so, dare I say, bitchy, frustrated, and exhausted because we've been holding things in so long. So that's why, I started doing that. And then I got into more body work. I started training in some different energy modalities. I started training in cranial sacral therapy and then massage therapy. And I got out of the corporate world because it was just so much, and I needed to start healing myself physically and mentally. And then as I started working with these women, or these clients, I realized many of them were women in corporate America who were really stressed out and burning the candle at both ends, like we often do, because we're not taught to stop, slow down, ground into ourselves, and really dive deep into our wisdom. Tara, how much time do we have left? I didn't.
Oh, you're good.
Start it.
So,
you were good?
Okay. You're good.
Okay.
Go for it. Go for it.
So, one of the things that I like to do when when I discovered the world of energy, I realized that this is something that I have been working with my entire life. Has anybody ever walked into a room and just could read the energy? Yeah, there's a lot of people who can do that. That's energy. Whether you're a woman or a man, sometimes you can walk in, especially with your close family, you walk into the room and say, oh, they've had a bad day. I'm just going to go right over here. That's energy. That's just reading the energy. Or if you have children and they're off, that's energy that you're reading. So when I started learning this energy stuff, I realized I had been doing it. I used to work at a horse farm, and I could read the energy of the horses, the animals, to a point where if I mentioned that this horse wasn't doing well, the owner of the barn would take me very seriously and take care of the situation. I didn't even realize what I was doing. I thought everybody could do this. So once I started to understand that perspective and really dive into it and really learn how to manage myself, manage my own energy, because that's all I can do, manage my own emotions and dragons, I realized that other women have the same issue. And then as I started working with them in more body work situations, it gets stuck in your body. Who would have thought that? That's why I would get sick when I was stressed out. Anybody ever get migraines when you're really stressed out? Yeah. And I realized that my migraines came from stress. When I left the stressful situation, my migraines stopped. So now that I have this body work information, I can really help in a lot of different ways with women into not even using my slides. Oh, there we go. I really work with women. I have a program called Resilient Woman Leadership Pathway, and this has 3 different levels because this is sort of my strategy on how I got myself back well. First of all, we have to heal the burnout, right? For me, that was really energy work, getting mentors, learning about myself, learning how to ground into myself, and taking some of these courses, manual therapy and whatnot. So I think it's really important if we want to move on with whatever we're doing, moving from corporate into another job, if we want a promotion, even if we want to move into entrepreneurship or anything like that, you've got to heal what's been harmed. Then we go into identifying and leveraging your leadership types, because when I was in corporate America and left, I was like, okay, who am I now? How do I lead people? How do I make a difference now that I'm not in corporate America? How do we do that? And it's a little bit different than what we were taught. We're taught to leave our feminine leadership skills or feminine powers to the side because we're just so adrenaline fueled in corporate America. And often, we're not taught to use our feminine intuitive insights. That's just not a thing, except if you work at it like I did. And then what I do then is I really start looking at how you can master those collaborative relationships like I did in corporate America, because they are so important. And how can you bring your feminine leadership strengths to those relationships to grow into who you want to be. So what I am looking for, I have a Dragon Woman quiz that I created because I thought this was a really fun way for women to figure out, okay, who's my dragon? What power does she really have? And I encourage you to go ahead and take the quiz. There's a way to take the quiz that you don't have to give me your email address. But if you want to put your email address in, it'll give you more information. But even the men in the group, I would really like to get your feedback. What does this quiz look like for you? How does it look for you? You've got women in your life. I think it's a good idea for you to know how things are with them too. Oh, I'm sorry. All right. And then I'll skip that. And then what I'm looking for here is speaking opportunities. I want to get the message out. I want to be able to talk with people about this. I'm looking for introductions to business because I think this is a really great corporate program opportunity. Looking at women's leadership, employee resource groups, employee resource groups in general. If professional women's groups where I can speak, and any other ideas that you have. That's okay. All right. This is the portion where we open it up to the room. So anybody have any questions for the lovely Miss Kathryn? Oh, 1, 2.
No, go ahead.
Well, I kind of tiptoed in late, so I don't know if you probably covered this in the beginning. But are there some kind of frameworks for, I would say, things that you carried from corporate America into your leadership program, things that weren't necessarily emotion based, where some things that you still took with you that helped kind of balance your program that you took from corporate America?
So I'm not sure I understand, so let me repeat back what I think you asked me. So is there anything from my corporate background that I brought into my program today?
Correct.
Yes.
So
a lot of it. I mean, the collaborative relationship perspective of things. When I was in corporate, I actually really enjoyed it until I didn't. So I learned a lot about that leadership role. What I added to it was how to control my nervous system. I didn't necessarily know that when I was in corporate America, and it was great until I started breaking down. And that's what I felt as I was building this program, going back to my corporate life. That's what's really missing. There's a lot of leadership programs out there, how to present yourself, how to deal with conflict, things like that. But there's nothing about how do you control your nervous system? How do you breathe through things so that you can stand in your power and lead those teams with the techie folks and the not so techie folks? So that's how I sort of incorporated. I've incorporated a lot of what I learned in corporate, a lot of what I've learned in my body work, and put them together.
So you just basically filled in the gaps for the things that you thought were missing.
Yes. Derek, did you want to go with them?
Who else is there?
Bob.
Go ahead, Bob.
What's your income model, and how are you putting it out there to your specific group that you market to?
Well, this is pretty new. So what I do now is I do coaching programs, I do body work, and then I'm starting to go into corporate. Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I was also wondering if you had a subscription service maybe?
Not yet. Not yet. That is something that I'm looking into, but I feel like I need some foundation before I go into that subscription model. Definitely though.
And I'm glad you said that before I said what I'm gonna say. First, I would pull away from the word corporate
Okay.
because there's a whole room full of entrepreneurs, females, and I really wish this applied, there was an option for men, but I'll leave that.
There is.
Yeah. Okay. But for the women in here, they're as corporate's gonna get because they're running their businesses. So the same skill set works. You're actually building a better leader if you're equipping people before they get into a situation than if you did it afterwards. You know, I mean, how many business owners wouldn't want to know how to control that energy?
Yes.
So they're dealing with employees, hiring, training, managing, all of that. So I think there's a golden market for you if you lean less on the word corporate. And
How about professional?
Or yes, because it opens it up to this room.
Yes.
And there's so many women business owners that are going to need help that burn out. I think they burn out faster than corporate folks because it's hidden inside an organization. When you own something, that weight is amazing.
Yeah, I like that. Thank you. Does that feel better to all of professional versus corporate?
She did have her hand
Okay.
I was just interested in what kind of energy work are you're using now with people? Are you working with people already?
Yes, and that's hard for me to say, like give it a word. Because we are working with energy all of the time, it's different. It's universal life energy. It's the energy.
Right. That's what I do too. So
Okay. I mean, I've studied in lots of different modalities, so I can't say I do this. You know, I've studied in Reiki and cranial sacral, which isn't necessarily energy, but because we are energy, it is energy. So it's hard for me to say this is what I do.
yeah, I use other energies to help the energy of the person.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Music and things like that.
Oh, fantastic! I love that. I'm not into the music stuff, but I love that.
Frequencies. Yes.
Yeah, I'm thinking about like the entrepreneurial situation. I feel like a lot of us who are, doing our own thing, it's so easy to burn out because there's no one stopping you from working. You can just keep going forever and ever and ever.
Yeah.
And I wonder, it sounds like your program would be super applicable
Absolutely.
to helping people learn how to self-regulate and
Yes.
balance that workload.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Is there like any specific, is there a specific way that you would approach that?
Well, it's very specific to each individual person because everybody is different and they're in different locations. So what I do, I use that Dragon Woman quiz as a starting point. And then I have a whole, what I call the good old boys burnout path. So we talk about where are you on that path. And then I can help determine for you specifically, how do we need to help you control that nervous system? How do we help you get confident in who you are? And how do we help you move forward on that leadership path, whether it is corporate, whether it is entrepreneurship, whatever it is you want to do. Because it's interesting, a lot of times I'm noticing women in corporate want to transition into entrepreneurship because they're so tired of what's going on. I think we had some up here and then back there.
Ladies, do you have a question, one of you?
Well, one, I took your quiz and it says I'm a 5-headed dragon, so I'm really curious about what that means. But from what I read, it's pretty spot on. I would love to get your card and information. I'm working in a room full of women now.
Okay.
And I think it could help. And then I'm a part of some other groups, and I think that
fantastic.
I would love to introduce you to them, and I think that you're doing great.
Great. Do you want me to tell people what the five-headed
Yeah, please.
Just quickly, the five-headed dragon is somebody who likes to get themselves in a lot of different things, and sometimes their heads get all tangled up.
We're gonna skip around, so I think we had Deb, and then here, and then Judy. Okay. Deb.
Cool. I want to go back to the business side.
Sure.
Do you have a business coach?
Yes.
You do. Okay. So, because what I've learned with wellness people is there's two businesses you're doing here: the wellness, which you absolutely love, and then the business, which most wellness people don't like quite so much. And you're doing a lot. So I was curious if you've got someone helping you with that portion of it and directing you in that area.
Right, exactly. I do. And that's interesting because there is that missing piece. I like to combine those things to help people be able to combine them because we're just not taught that. And it's the same. It's the same. So, yes.
I'm sorry, I got another question. So with your coaching program, I was just more interested in how the framework is online. I know you mentioned the quiz. The quiz is first, and as you navigate them through the program, if I was in it, would we be getting tools as to how to cultivate what dragon I am? So I would leave your program knowing with a set of tools, or like, that's the transformation, like cultivate what type of dragon I am.
Yes. So we find out what kind of dragon you are. What are the strengths of that dragon? What is the sort of the unbalanced dragon? What does that show up as? How does that show up? And that's not necessarily the positive emotions.
Right.
But how can we use those not so positive emotions to really build the strength that's underneath those emotions so that you can really stand in that dragon power? Because dragons, like I was in China last year and it was the year of the dragon. So everybody wanted children, male children, not female children. Because it's taboo to have a female dragon. And I don't think it should be.
Can't have a male child without a female.
Exactly.
Judy in front.
I took the quiz also, and I am a five-headed dragon. But are you a five-headed dragon?
I can be. So the dragon sort of came out of, everybody has a little bit of each dragon in them.
That's right.
But for you two, the five-headed dragon is what's most predominant. So yes, I can certainly be a five-headed dragon. I'm more of a stoic dragon, where I get quiet. I don't want to say hi, but I just get really quiet. I get very serious. We got to get this done, so let's do it. I can be a five-headed dragon. And I can be a fighter dragon, which is somebody who really is forceful and it can be intimidating.
Well, the word resilient caught my eye because that is one of my strengths. I'm very resilient. But he is my saving grace because he is very calm, so he kind of helps with that five-headed dragon.
Absolutely.
So he's balanced, and so I love your program. I think it's amazing what you do. And I think that you can balance us five-headed dragons out.
Yes.
So it's been amazing. I love what you do, and I would love to learn more about your program.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely.
More questions. Here we go.
So I love your presentation. What I kind of thought of is the author of the book, All the Black Girls Are Activists by Ebony Janice Moore. She has like this theory about like being in the seat of Toni, because if you notice Toni Morrison during all her interviews, they ask some really out of pocket and sometimes blatantly racist questions to her, and she's just like, you never see her like get argumentative, get out of her seat. She's always, oh, blah, 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 like laid back, and she calls it like the regulated nervous system. So I thought a lot about that. But my question actually is, you talked a lot about individuals, and I know somebody mentioned, like, a couple people mentioned subscription services, but what about, like, the group coaching model? Like, maybe, like, you get all the 5-headed dragons, and, like, you meet up, and, like, so, like, it's like a community of, like, supporting women, but also, like, it's a little bit easier and sustainable for you to coach multiple people at once versus, like, having 15 different individual clients on your schedule all the time.
Are you a 5-headed dragon?
I'm taking the quiz right now.
Okay.
But when you were describing stoic dragon, I think that might be me. Yeah. But I definitely have 5-headed dragon tendencies.
Actually, mine tied in really well with hers because I was going to ask. Well, I have two things. So is this able to be, this is clearly offered for an individual, but then there's also, is there able to be a program for groups? Like, okay, we have a collective of women in this particular group, or, you know, we have a support group. Can we use the tool for like this general group so that we can have like an increase of, you know, efficiency or something? Yes. Because I was thinking with that in mind, you could go to, you know how a lot of these larger companies do their health fair programs and stuff. You can go there and be like, oh, yay, you guys can come here. And, you know, do like a little small thing with them. And they do pay you out for that stuff. Yeah. And then
I really would like that. So if you have any contacts
about
who to contact, I would love that information.
Yeah, I'm a smoke head dragon, by the way.
Okay. Did you have another question before I move on?
Nope, I think that was it.
Okay.
So, the quiz was a bit difficult because I do multiple, but you only can do one.
Yes.
So I wasn't stoic, but I had to sit here on each question like, what am I today? Right. So should I do multiple quizzes to see the dragon, or would you ever make another quiz where I can do multiple and see?
No, that makes it much more difficult. This is supposed to be a fun quiz. It's not supposed to be, I need to get it absolutely right. And you got a which dragon?
Stoic.
Stoic, yeah.
I think that plays a really nice part in that one.
So that's a really good point. I'll have to keep that in mind because, you know, making it's supposed to just be fun and take 2 minutes and don't think about it too hard. And but I get it. So I will definitely look at it. And I love your feedback. Like, which questions were difficult for you?
Oh, so me as a person, I adapt. For where I need to be. Some days I might not be adapt so much because, you know, this morning somebody almost cut me off and I just saw, you know, a fire erupting in one of the cars. So it might have deterred a little bit
absolutely.
For my adaptability. So I have to go day by day when it comes to what's needed from me and what I can do for the day. How far can I go? Because, you know, sometimes I forget I have limits as a person.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, wait, yesterday was hard. Let me just.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll just figure it out tomorrow. So.
I'm just going to suggest. I'm going to suggest again that instead of aiming for the corporate immediately, look at the interest the room shows. You could do seminars, just start your own seminars. There are facilities where you can get the space and start on through your social media marketing it as where you bring a group of business women together and start there. Because what's going to happen then is word of mouth from that group will lead to another thing and then another, and you'll get the validity. That corporate America is always, we know how corporate America is. Well, who have you done this for before? You know, they're safe. Yeah, they're safe. They want proven and tested. Your testing ground is the entrepreneurial market. It's businesses. I mean, there's the AMA, which is American Marketing Association. There's all the professional organizations, Society of Engineers. See, so you go to those organizations and put one together for the women in those groups, and let that build your momentum. they all work for somebody or owns their business. That's the end.
Yeah.
So I think you need a marketing plan. I know you need a marketing plan, but get with somebody like Deb. Deb, raise your hand. And get you and get that marketing plan that gives you the direction and the course, so you're not doing the 5-headed dragon thing and you're going in every direction. You're focused on a pathway, and it's going to lead you to where you want to be. And I think you'll get there in corporate America because Columbia is so small, and it's a good thing that we're small. So 2 or 3 of those seminars, and you're already talking to Colonial Life or Blue Cross Blue Shield or Dominion, but they attend other things. And I just think you have a service that's valuable. But if you try to go the corporate route strictly or mainly, there are so many hurdles to that, whereas if you built it up and have a series, you may get to the point where you're so busy with entrepreneurs and business professionals that you go, I don't really need the corporate.
You can charge premium.
Yeah, exactly.
There you go.
But I will say corporate is probably where you're most needed. Because just hearing this today was a breath of fresh air for me.
Okay.
Corporate and now government, right? Entrepreneur to the bone. Underneath all this, I'm an entrepreneur, but definitely just thinking about that and the pains that we go through as women being in a male-dominated environment and just talking about your strengths and how sometimes those types of things aren't seen as strengths, but they really are. It was just super refreshing for me coming from that environment. And so I get what he's saying about staying away from the word corporate, but don't leave us out.
Yeah. That's why I like the idea of the professional women.
Yeah,
Corporate.
yeah, don't leave us out because we definitely.
And let's just be totally honest. In this climate, corporations are reeling or pulling back from things that say women,
I know.
minority, or anything else. So there's that hurdle. I think it's stupid, but hey, that's my opinion on it.
The question all the way back. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I've retired military, but have you a segue into maybe the military market, the particular women that have come through the military career? They have a diverse background. They can probably immediately move into corporate, and they don't lack energy; they have energy. So that's a good question there.
Yeah, I had not really thought about the military, just because I know they have so much training, but they don't have necessarily what I offer. So that's a really
that might be better. Transitioning out of the military.
That's a good one too.
Yeah, I can see this part of the program being implemented into women's retreats.
Yes.
I create retreats for business and life coaches, and this will be a great element to actually add to your retreat, even pre-retreat.
Yes.
And being able to kind of dive into the different dragons during the retreat.
And do some of that nervous system regulation.
Yes.
We have time for maybe 1 or 2 more questions. Anybody else have anything you want to ask or interject or offer?
It's not a question. Oh, sorry. What are your socials?
Right now, I'm doing Facebook and LinkedIn. I'm threatening Instagram.
Well, depends on who your target audience is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But right now, it's mostly just Facebook and LinkedIn.
What's your Facebook?
And it's your name?
Say that again?
It's your name?
Yes, Kathryn Regganie.
I'm sorry. One more question. Oh, go ahead. Miss Judy, you need a question? One more question? Everybody? All right, then, Dr. Jones, would you like to do the final question?
What can 1 million cups do for you?
I think you've done what you can do. So if you really know of individuals, I'm going to talk with you in a minute, retreats, if you have those contacts that some of us have talked about, I would love to, keep that momentum. If you think of anybody that might want to have me come and speak or create a program for them, I would just love to have that information, make those connections.
right. Well,
Thank you all so much. This has been incredibly valuable.
Next Wednesday, please and thank you. Tell a friend. This is for you, love. Look, you get swag. We have the room for another an hour or two. So if you want to meet, mingle, make connections, please do. And thank you all. Have a terrific week.
No, it's like we're
These cards, how did you find out? Yeah. Oh, that's So what kind of dragon are you looking at? Five-headed dragon?
I love my Robin girlies. I love my Robin girlies.
Who's going to be speaking
I wanted to get your information, and here is mine. Because there's a couple of different places in Columbia that you can start. I was thinking about next spring. They usually have those health fairs during the spring, but I'll send you some of the information that I have. I'm trying to work with Pepsi and with Jack America's. It's now something else now, but I still have the contacts that are over there. And those are facilities that house a lot of. When I was working at Pepsi, I did the exact opposite, and I let my ego run it, and so I became the angry one. Because, I didn't regulate. I did not have the professional maturity, really, at that point. And so there are people who still want to be successful in that field, and so I think that's really
If I had known differently, I might still be
same. But you live and you learn. Yeah, you don't know what you don't know. Exactly. I really feel like exactly. And because especially for all the women that are in HR, good Lord help them right now. Thank you so much, Ariel. It's nice to see you. I was waiting.
I'm sorry, I'm just.
Yes, but I've been working out of space, so I was like, okay, but yes. So then I've been putting like the stuff that I don't visit very often on the card.
I'm upset about it.
I know.
It's a